7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
President and has received
But
open
it's see-through.
support from Washington and several of its allies in the West and Latin America.
So I can make
But
it look
countries like
crazy
Russia, China, and
after I do
Turkey
this.
are calling on all parties to recognize legitimately elected President Maduro. Maduro's attorney general announced the president would open a criminal probe into the opposition leader and requested he be banned from leaving the country. The article in the Gray Zone titled "The Making of Juan Guaido, U.S. Regime Change Laboratory Created Venezuela's Coup Leader" gives details about the self-proclaimed president, highlighting just a few months back no one had really heard of the 35-year-old man who was seen as a mid-level figure within the National Assembly, which is being held under contempt. It wasn't until a call from U.S. Vice President Mike Pence that Guaido proclaimed himself as the interim president of the Latin American country. Many U.S. media outlets like the New York Times, Bloomberg News, and the Wall Street Journal applauded Guaido for this move. Investigative journalist Max Blumenthal sat down with Rick Sanchez to discuss why the U.S. is really backing Guaido.
This extreme is being pushed by the U.S. because the U.S. actually does not want to bring all the sides together. They've rejected the talks offered by Mexico and Uruguay.
Yeah,
what they want is to push...
You don't say. We don't want peace and, prosperity? We don't want that? Gosh. I thought that's what they tell everybody in the media.
The most radical elements to destabilize the country and smash a socialist experiment so they can get control of the world's largest oil reserves.
And gold. They have gold. Plenty of gold. And also, didn't they go to a currency that is based on gold-backed digital currency?
Meanwhile, Venezuelan President Maduro said Wednesday he was ready to sit down for talks with the country's opposition. During an exclusive interview with Russia's
By the way, holding this ring up like this, it's hurting my fucking hand. And you put it on the middle finger. I don't think it'll fit. My fucking fingers are huge. Look, yeah, that's as far as it goes. Right there. Pretty cool. See through. Well, of course, the base isn't.
IA news agency, he said, quote, "I'm ready to sit at the negotiation table with the opposition for us to talk for the benefit of Venezuela, for the sake of peace and its future." Maduro also had this to say in regards to the U.S. backing Guaido.
This is unprecedented. It shows how desperate the White House is because they can't bring Venezuela to its knees. It's a very sensitive issue. What am I doing?
My face
I'm
is in the
fulfilling
way.
my constitutional obligations as the commander-in-chief.
Maduro is also open to the possibility of other countries mediating, saying, quote, there are several governments, organizations globally, which are demonstrating their sincere concern about what is happening in Venezuela. They have called for a dialogue. While the U.S. and its allies are pushing to overthrow Maduro's government, Maduro is asking the American people to stop what he calls may become a new Vietnam. Reporting in the newsroom, Ashley Banks, RT.
Nope, not you. Let's see, Deep State at. Let's go. I saw this earlier. Where was it? Oh, watch that one. Distractions, obsession over the wall, while ignoring neocon threat. Yeah. Put this up.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the Liberty
Ron Paul?
Report. With me today is Daniel McAdams, our co-host. And Daniel, good to see you this morning.
Happy Monday, Dr. Paul. How are you?
Very good. And good that you're here and ready and raring to go.
That's
And, we're not going to hone in on one subject today. We're going to be talking about foreign policy in general in relationship to the only thing that we're hearing these days, and that is the wall, as if that's the only issue that counts. Now, my position on the wall is immigration is very, very important. I think it's mishandled. I'm not against all walls, this sort of thing. So it's important.
I'm surrounded by walls. You would have no infrastructure without walls. It's really ridiculous. Well, if you like separate like a full wall, I mean, you know what I hate? I hate doors. I have 4 freaking doors in this room. It's ridiculous. 4 freaking doors, a window. But I have 4 freaking doors. So I can't put anything without blocking a freaking door. So I'd much rather have a full wall. Not 36, no, it's about 48 inches of wall in another door. It's like all around this damn room. I don't have a full wall. In this room, I just realized that. I do not have a full wall to the other wall. My God. That's why I can never have this exactly how I want it in here.
But what I would like to emphasize here is the overimportance, the obsession with it, to the point where some of the things I consider a lot more important are totally ignored when it comes to the foreign policy around the world, whether it's Syria or Afghanistan, Yemen, all these places that we're involved in now. We have Venezuela.
What's this Reddit post
and,
say?
Yet 90% of what you hear about is dealing with the wall. But even if we didn't have the wall issue, they wouldn't be talking about the other issues. But in order...
What the hell is this? Ben Carson photographed with key employee of sanctioned Russian oligarch. Well, they look retarded, so... One of them looks like he has an underbite and an overbite, and he has gray teeth, and he has those little circle glasses. And Ben Carson looks like he doesn't know where he's at. I think they drugged Ben Carson. But taking a picture that's just... They're trying to find all the little evidence on everybody. It's freaking hilarious. Because nobody... Like, show me a video of these people going into places. And if it was in New York, it was in New York. which means they weren't on a. There is video cameras outside that aren't owned by the Trump Hotel, and you'd be able to see it. Like, okay, it was on this date. Let's go check the video. That's a thought. This guy's going in to meet this person, and they did say that they already were like tapping all of his stuff by then. His inner circle, like they've said that. So are we finding out that the government can't tap stuff as good as they make it sound like they can? Or are they trying not to let the rest of the public know how much they can tap into our social media, our phone numbers, our text, our cameras, on our phones? Y'all just saw the Facebook thing, or not Facebook, the iPhone thing. I didn't know that wasn't known. Like, I accidentally did that a couple weeks, like 2.5 months ago. I did that 2.5 months ago. It called in, what's it called? It always says voice chat. It calls in voice chat for some reason. Like if somebody has an iPhone. Let's see. But it called, and it was in, forgot what it's even called because I don't use it for, a lot of people I know don't use that crap. Phone. Sorry, this phone's ridiculous. I still can't, you know how you can usually talk into it and get it, and not using Siri? You can talk into the phone and it'll, let's see, for instance, look at someone I know that has an iPhone. Because I know a lot of people that stopped using them. Dun, 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 dun. FaceTime, yeah, FaceTime. I don't know why I couldn't think of the name of it. That's how much I use it. But it'll always go into where it shows calling somebody, like you'll hit the phone on it, and it will FaceTime. It will give you the option of FaceTime or voice chat. Instead of like when somebody else calls you, they're just calling you. But if you call somebody in FaceTime voice chat, it has a different ring to it. So it has the FaceTime ring to it. And I did that, I wanted to say right after I got this phone. So November. And I thought everybody knew about that. But since I got the new phone, I didn't know if it was just a glitch on my phone or not. Because it was right around Christmas and people, like, I was calling people when they were buying presents. And they would, like, hit decline. And I could hear what they were saying when they were when they were shopping. So it was kind of weird. That's why if somebody called me doing that, I'd just be like, okay, accept, decline. Or accept, and then hang up. That's what I'd do if I was somebody that is scared of it now. But who knows? It's probably gone now. And hopefully I can get this video to actually process, because the rest of them haven't been processing correctly. But I wanted to show y'all that. Wanted to also let y'all know next week I'm having surgery. Probably the only way I'll be able to make videos if I make a couple of them this week and then just release them next week. Or I might just like send y'all an update or make a video with an update letting y'all know what's going on. Because I'll have my laptop up there. And I just realized that my laptop has more RAM than this computer, my desktop. And I haven't been using. I just reset this laptop, so it's got nothing on it right now. So I might as well put Streamlabs on there. I'm gonna try and put Steam on it, see if I can play games up there. Because the only reason I'll have to stay up at the hospital is they want to watch what do they want to watch? Basically, just my heart rate. Because it's when you have something like this and it's blocking, then you have this massive flow of circulation coming back. It's just something that they want to watch. So I'll be in there for, they said, a couple of days. But surgery on the 6th, and then should be back I'll probably be home on the 9th sometime. But my surgery doesn't start till like noon next Wednesday. So I'm looking forward to getting this over with. That's for damn sure. It's taken so long to even get to this point. And what they're going to do is they're going to go in where the old scars are at, go in underneath my collarbone and fix that up. And then go into, he said don't want to freak you out, but when he goes in right here, he said he's going to feel around down towards my pec. And he said he can usually put his hand down there and feel for it if my pec needs to be redone. Basically, that means just loosening up the muscle that attaches because it's really tight. And they'll be doing that, and they'll also be doing stem cell to prevent anything from the scar tissue build up really quickly. So that's what they're going to be doing. But I'll keep y'all updated on how it goes. And I'll be watching all this crap too. Got nothing to do when I'm up there but watch crap. Because I can't sleep in the hospital beds. It took me almost 2 days to fall asleep last time. So I know I'll be awake. So hopefully I'll be back home, relaxing, sitting in this chair, watching something. Hopefully I'm back home Friday. I really want to come back home on Friday. Even though the hospital food's up there is actually really good and everyone's really nice. I don't want those damn sponge baths though. That's a little weird. I can get in the shower. Alright, peace y'all. Not again.
Venezuela in the midst of political upheaval. The country's president has sent a warning to his people. Nicolas Maduro says they shouldn't trust the faked version of events in the country that the United States is trying to promote. He even went further, threatening the US with a second Vietnam-like war.
Since they cannot fake Venezuela and Maduro having weapons of mass destruction to intervene against us, they now make up lies on a daily basis and false news to justify aggression against our country. Let's not allow another war like Vietnam. In Latin America, if the government of the United States intends to intervene against us, they will have another Vietnam, worse than you can imagine.
The warning comes after Washington announced its full support of self-declared interim President Juan Guaido. With the split becoming deeper by the day, Murad Gaziev looks at the choices for Venezuela.
Venezuela is a country of two realities. So
we're threatening people again south of the border. It's amazing. I wonder what would happen if Washington, D.C. was at, I don't know, El Paso. This wouldn't be happening.
stark, so profound are the differences in opinion. In one reality, President Maduro is trying to put down a rebellion, stop an upstart, a usurper, Juan Guaido. He's trying to prevent mutiny in the army, even as we hear calls on CNN to supply rebels with weapons. And he's afraid that Trump has ordered him killed.
No doubt that Trump gave an order to kill me. He told the Colombian government, the Colombian mafia, to kill me. If something happens to me one day, Donald Trump and
in
the
this
Colombian
reality,
president...
Guaido is the real president. He is America's candidate. Trump congratulated him on becoming president. They discuss what to do with the former dictator, Maduro. They discuss business, politics. He has America's blessing and its protection.
I reiterate that the United States will hold Venezuelan security forces responsible for the safety of all U.S. diplomatic personnel, the National Assembly, and President Guaido. Any violence against these groups would signify a grave assault on the rule of law and will be met with a significant response.
Sure, now, with the guarantee of safety, of invulnerability, Mr. Guaido wasted no time before beginning to issue orders.
Soldiers of Venezuela, today I give you an order. Don't shoot the Venezuelan people. Don't shoot those who in a clear and constitutional way have been defending your family, your people, your work, your way of life. Today, soldiers of Venezuela, I give you an order. Don't repress peaceful demonstrations like before.
Such familiar scenes. We see this all over the world. Palestinians protesting in the occupied territories, the Yellow Vests in France, Catalan separatists in Spain, protesters in the US. But when police bully, beat, and arrest in those countries, that's fine and dandy. When they do it in Venezuela, that's suppression of democracy, an attack on the free world.
Maduro is not the democratically elected president of Venezuela. He tramples democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. The hope for a new start is linked with the only democratically legitimate institution in the country, namely the National Assembly and its president, Juan Guaido. That's why, together with the EU, we have offered our political support to him.
For the US, Guaido is the cake, sweet and pliable. But wait, there's icing on top.
Those agreements that have not been recognized by the National Assembly are illegal. We will not recognize illegal agreements. China has to understand that, and Russia has to understand that.
Two realities, two presidents, two governments, two Venezuelas. Of course, it cannot continue like this. A house divided cannot stand. Eventually, these two realities will merge. Let's just hope it won't be through civil war.
I'll get out of here. I will be having surgery next week, so might not be making as many videos. So.
And here we go. It is 8 o'clock.
Just let y'all know.
National headquarters of RT America in our
Oh yeah,
nation's
this
capital.
one also.
Hello
Very
again, everybody.
interesting.
I'm Rick Sanchez. If there's one thing I want you to come away with if you watch this show with any regularity at all, other than the fact that, of course, we try to be as fair and as transparent as we possibly can, it's this. We do prioritize stories about war and peace, especially those involving the possibility of an unnecessary war. Those are the type of wars that tend to be avoided by rich people's kids, who, by the way, then grow up to start wars that they end up making a lot of money on. But I digress. Yesterday, when the chief intelligence officer of the United States contradicted the Trump administration by saying that Iran is not violating the nuclear treaty, we led our show with it. We put it right at the very top of the show. We thought it was the most important thing to tell you about, right? I mean, here it is again, plain as day. You can listen to it.
We do not believe Iran is currently undertaking activities we judge necessary to produce a nuclear device.
We do not believe Iran is currently undertaking activities we judge necessary to produce a nuclear device. What could be more important than that, right? And yet, interestingly enough, we were the only network newscast that led with that story yesterday. We were the only network newscast that actually led with that story yesterday. Everybody else told you about Russia. Anyway, again, I digress. Okay, that means the run-up to war that we keep hearing about may not be necessary, right? Not so fast. Today, just this morning, President Trump began chastising Dan Coats for what he said there. The president immediately began tweeting this morning, contradicting U.S. intelligence gathering and calling Coats naive and passive and wrong. Imagine, he's talking about the CIA. The president insists that Iran is dangerous. By the way, for those of you who know, the CIA, not exactly a collection of peaceniks and doves, right? It's characterized worldwide as a rather aggressive interventionist body. Yet, according to the Trump administration, they're passive and naive. What gives, right? Is there a conflict within the halls of power between those who want war with Iran and those who don't? Are people like Coats trying to tell us something? And what does this remind you of? Remember the run-up to the war in Iraq? All it took was a little spark, right? And how'd that go? Tonight we compare what's happening right now with what happened then as well. That's in our second segment. This is the News with Rick Sanchez, where we believe it is time to do real news again. With this now. By the way, here's the president's comment that we were just talking about, where he's calling the CIA passive. An exercise. Fact. Israel hates Iran and so does Saudi Arabia. Fact. Israel and Saudi Arabia are two of our most important allies. Fact. The U.S. plan to democratize Iraq so it could stand up to Iran actually backfired, and it strengthened Iran. Fact. Many of the same people who drew up the failed plan for the invasion of Iraq are now working inside the White House. Fact. One of the few who wasn't part of the Iraq invasion team is who? Dan Coats. The same guy who yesterday revealed what may be an inconvenient truth about Iran. Interesting day, interesting developments. Here to put it all together for us now.
They are much different, but a source of potential danger and
benefits it expected from the deal. Iran is currently undertaking activities we judge necessary to produce a nuclear device. Iranian officials have publicly threatened to push the boundaries of JCPOA restrictions if Iran does not gain the tangible financial benefits it expected from the deal.
Coates' assessment lines up with what we've heard from the International Atomic Energy Agency and even Trump's own State Department. So now the Trump administration is helping engineer a coup in Venezuela and has pulled out of the Iran deal over a nuclear weapons program that doesn't exist. All the while, the U.S. itself is developing a new nuclear weapon. It's smaller, just 100 megatons, but that's more than 6 times as powerful as the nuclear bombs the U.S. dropped on Japan in World War II. So why does the U.S. need to add to its nuclear arsenal? It's the old Cold War enemy, Russia. Never mind, the Cold War ended some 28 years ago. Here's what Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov had to say about it.
As far as the announcement about the US beginning to manufacture a new low-yield nuclear warhead, I remind you that the topic was already included in last year's review of Washington's policy in the nuclear sphere. Even then we expressed our serious concern about the fact that the production of such warheads lower the threshold for a nuclear conflict, and as such, increases the risk of nuclear conflict.
With just 3 days left until the U.S. pulls out of the Intermediate Nuclear Forces Treaty, the doomsday clock has been readjusted. Now we're just 2 minutes away from midnight. It's the new abnormal. But mutually assured destruction should be mutually terrifying and maybe even